After the Dolphins drafted Tua Tagovailoa with the 5th overall pick in 2020, nobody anticipated Tua time winding down before it really had a chance to get started. To begin his career, Tua sat behind Ryan Fitzpatrick the first 6 weeks of the season, but after the bye week in Week 7, to the surprise of everybody, Brian Flores and the Dolphins announced Tua would be the starter. Although he went 7-3 in those 10 games, his arrival kicked off a turbulent stretch for the Dolphins offense where Flores benched him multiple times during games due to his poor performance. And even though they finished 10-6, the Dolphins missed out in the playoffs in the final week after getting blown out by the Bills. While there were some impressive highs, there were even lower lows, raising questions and concerns about Tua's viability to play quarterback at a high level. All of the abilities that led to him being drafted 5th overall were actually areas he struggled in during his rookie season. His accuracy diminished and was unpredictable, his pocket movement was rushed and unsettled, and his ability to anticipate throws and manipulate defenders almost completely disappeared. But, at the same time, it wasn't all on Tua. There's plenty of blame that goes to the Dolphins' lack of an overall plan and structural issues on the offense from top to bottom. If we rewind a few months before the Dolphins drafted him, they first brought Chan Gailey out of a 4-year retirement to become their offensive coordinator. But that wasn't a move made looking into the future, but a move made more focused on the present. Gailey was brought in because of Fitzpatrick, who he'd coached not just once before, but twice. And he installed an offense around Fitz, whose play style is the polar opposite of Tua's. Fitz is a gunslinging, push the ball into a tight window, throw a jump ball down the field type of QB, and Gailey designed the system around him and not Tua at all. One of the scheme's core aspects was aggressive throws to one-on-one isolated receivers, which was a perfect fit for Miami's receiving core since they had massive receivers like Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, and Mike Gesicki. The system and personnel were designed for the offense to win one-on-one matchups instead of being centered around timing-based concepts that stretch out the defense. The scheme didn't fit Tua, and the personnel didn't fit Tua. And if you're wondering what changed when he became the starter, the answer is just about nothing. Gailey's usage of 3x1 alert-style concepts is a perfect example of this problem. These concepts required Tua to frequently throw deep one-on-one isolation routes, which aren't geared towards his strengths or what he excelled at while playing in college. This type of play design has an alert side and a concept side, where Tua determines pre-snap, or sometimes post-snap, if this alert route will be one-on-one. That could mean it's just man coverage, or if he sees safeties rotating away from that side of the field. And if he didn't have that one-on-one matchup, he'd go right to the concept side. In his second start, he had some success with these alert concepts, and he led the Dolphins to a 34-31 win, which would end up being his best game all season. But after his brightest hour, that's when things began to change. 2 weeks later against the Broncos, he completed just 55% of his passes for just 83 yards and was benched in the fourth quarter. When the Broncos used a second safety to take away his alert route, that's when he started to struggle and his numbers really began to fall off a cliff. On the season, he rarely pushed the ball more than 20 yards downfield, and when he did, he had just 8.9 yards per attempt, which was 29th in the league, and a 76 passer rating, which was 25th. He struggled when he was under pressure with just 4.7 yards per attempt, and that was often due to his reluctance to sit in the pocket and progress through concepts, since he would instead get fidgety and scramble. Here's the 3x1 formation with Devontae Parker outside as the alert, and then a dagger concept down below. The Chargers are playing cover 1 robber, which was a common coverage against the Dolphins since teams often tried to double, trap, rob Mike Gesicki in any way possible, especially on third down. So cuz Tua sees a safety rotating down away from his alert, he correctly starts with Parker, who had trouble winning on these outbreaking routes all year. But here's the issue with Tua and why there's major cause for concern moving forward. Instead of progressing backside to the dagger route that's moving into the space created by Gesicki running the cross and Tua's eyes moving the deep safety over the top of Parker, Tua doesn't settle in the pocket and scan the field, but instead tries to scramble to create a second play. He's not Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, who will consistently create with their legs. But that's the kind of quarterback he tried to be in his rookie season, instead of staying true to his own skill set. Yes, Jerry Tillery destroys Jesse Davis off the ball, but Tua needs to step up into the pocket to evade Tillery while keeping his eyes downfield to see the dagger route come open. But after he comes off the alert, his next move isn't to reset like he needs to, but to run. And if he continues to do that, he's simply not going to last very long at all. He'll have to continue developing into a rhythm-based pocket passer with great vision, quick processing, and elite anticipation, cause he doesn't have that athleticism or high-end arm strength like some of the other NFL quarterbacks do. Here's a concept that's schemed up to take advantage of the coverage the Chiefs are playing, but requires that patience and progression ability inside the pocket that Tua showed in college, but not in his rookie season. The Chiefs are playing Tampa 2 zone with 2 deep defenders and a middle run-through linebacker, and the Dolphins concept has Gesicki on this middle read route, plus they have a backside crosser from Devontae Parker. When Tua sees the safety sprinting back at the snap, he should anticipate the 2-high structure and Gesicki to be open, but since it's Tampa 2, the linebacker matches Gesicki's route and the safeties squeeze in on him as well. Backside in-breaking routes are really good against Tampa 2 since that linebacker is running up the field with his back turned, so Parker has nobody anywhere near him, but Tua never sees him. No matter what kind of progression is installed on this play, Tua has to find an open receiver here. If Gailey wants him to read Gesicki to curl to flat, Tua has the flat receiver open. Or if it's designed to come back to Parker when Tua sees the run-through backer out of the picture, well, that would have worked too. The Dolphins' offensive line had plenty of issues of its own, and that's really a whole nother story. But here Tua has a clean pocket and 4.5 seconds to work with, plus he looks right at Parker breaking into his vision, but instead moves up in the pocket for no reason and takes a sack, making it 3rd and long. Discomfort in a clean pocket is something we see all the time with rookies, so it's not like this is something crazy, but since poise in the pocket was one of Tua's perceived strengths coming out, well, it's something he'll have to clean up fast. These issues in the pocket reared their ugly head, especially on 3rd down, when he couldn't use play action, RPOs, or the threat of his backs running, and his numbers absolutely plummeted. On 1st and 2nd down, his QB rating hovered in the 90s, but on 3rd down dropped all the way to 64. His yards per attempt fell 2 yards, and his sacks and interceptions shot up. The Bengals are showing an all-out cover 0 blitz with no safeties deep, and they're not even trying to disguise their intentions, they're bringing the house. They have 7 up on the line to outnumber the Dolphins 6 in protection and have man-on-man coverage for each of the receivers. Tua has to be prepared for a free runner since the Bengals are showing an extra guy up front, so he needs to determine who his hot receiver is, meaning a quick route he can hit if that extra unblocked pass rusher actually comes. He has 2 potential hots in a slightly longer developing corner route to Gesicki's tight end, and a faster quick out to Jakeem Grant up top. So it's not necessarily wrong to choose Gesicki, but Tua fails to use anticipation and timing and waits an extra half sec to get the ball out and gets pummeled. Right when his back foot hits, the ball needs to come out now, but Gesicki still has an extra step before he gets out of his break, so Tua hitches instead of anticipating him coming open. These extra little hitches popped up way too much on his film and are often the difference between a successful play and a disaster. With all the obvious frustration you could see in Tua, Brian Flores, and the Dolphins' offense as the season progressed, there were some glimmers of hope that showed why he was drafted 5th overall. There are serious questions about his arm strength, but then he'll make a throw or two like this one every game, even though it was dropped, where you can see legit ability. The Dolphins are again running their dagger concept, where Tua will read the deep cross from Devontae Parker first, and then if he's not open, hit Jakeem Grant on the dagger route. The Chiefs are playing cover 1 man match, where it's man coverage, but when Parker runs the crosser, Tyrann Mathieu takes him, and Bashaud Breeland replaces his zone in the middle. Despite the corner's inside leverage on Grant, Tua is able to use his eyes to move Breeland a little too far towards Parker, then come back and squeeze in a pass that should have been caught. You can see him look at Mathieu, then come back to read Parker on the cross, and even though there's again a little tiny hitch, he throws a missile to Grant with pressure closing in. Plays like these are impressive and do inspire that hope, but the bad is far outweighed by the good and has cast a cloud over this offense heading into 2021. The good news is the Dolphins added Jalen Waddle and Will Fuller, who aren't the big body isolation types, but more fit the yards after the catch style that Tua excels with, and the Dolphins have hired 2 new offensive coordinators, yes, 2, which is kinda odd, but 2 offensive coordinators who will build an offense purely around Tua and nobody else. This was a Ryan Fitzpatrick-based offense schemed up for deep shot plays and an isolation style that didn't fit Tua at all, and there were hardly any changes when he took over. Tua needs a system built around the quick to intermediate game, timing-based progression concepts, and rhythm-based throws that can turn into big yards after the catch opportunities. And if the new Dolphins coordinators can build that system for him, we will see vast improvement next season. But it's extremely concerning that so few of his talents translated even in a non-conducive offensive scheme. And Tua needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror and realize how he can readjust and redefine who he is moving forward. If he can play from the pocket and not outside of it, play in rhythm and hit his receivers with timing, master the mental game and have a plan for each and every progression on each and every play, create and execute yards after the catch opportunities, and help build an offense that can lay this foundation and begin to grow, then Tua time has only just begun.